squad now has had their first vax, which I guess is a positive sign for the club?
Oh, very. Something that we've been speaking to the playing group about for some time, and staff. So we've been at 100% football staff for some time, but I think with the players, very similar to the community in Queensland, there's been a little bit of apathy towards it, just given our community situation up here, which has been incredibly well handled. But now that the guys are back, understanding of what happens if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, the realities of that, it became pretty apparent, and certainly been no pushback. I've been delighted about the work that particularly Kev, Ben Ikin, the doctors put into educating our players on the importance and the understanding of it, and the realities of whether it's travel interstate or getting into stadiums as of today and the like. It's become pretty apparent that can't be without it. So certainly from our point of view, be play on.
Other codes have mandated vaccinations. Do you think the NRL should have stepped in and maybe mandated it for all staff and players?
Oh, that'd be a matter for the NRL to talk through. They've got their own board and their own decision-making process they had to go through. So I'm sure there's reasons around it. But for us, it's about we're our own club, we're our own business. They're our players and our employees ultimately. So we had to take responsibility for that, and we've worked through that with the playing group, and certainly been very transparent and direct and open and both ways, and everyone understands the situation.
Have they given you enough information though about what season 2022 will look like if players aren't or are vaccinated?
We've got the protocols for the preseason, so I think my understanding of that takes us up to at least Christmas, if not beyond. But these are evolving times. It's an evolving matter for the game. They've got their pandemic experts that they're relying on, epidemiologists. It's not a word that I thought I'd ever say in rugby league, but here we are today. And for us, it's it's about we've got some great medical experts as well at our end, and some really well-educated professional players that understand the requirements and the realities of it. So look, I think for all of us as a game and as an industry, we're not out of the woods yet. I think we could say that about the wider community. Hopefully we can get through to Christmas, have a good break. You would have seen today there's a lot of hard training about to go on the next couple of months. And then, once we get post-Christmas, I'm sure there'll be an update around what that means for state travel, interstate travel, what it means crossing borders and the like. So, we're as the Broncos, very keen to play a very proactive and positive role with the NRL in terms of shaping that.
So there's no anti-vax sentiment obviously with the Broncos today, because at one point I think you were the lowest ranked percentage-wise, but it seems like you've got on top of that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think, Pete, very similar to the wider community. There's probably been a little bit of apathy up here in Queensland about the whole COVID situation, given the borders have been shut. But if we're ever going to get back to normal as a game and as a community, which we all want to, there's a role for us all to play. And I know I got my shot. I speak from personal experiences, a couple of months ago, and pleasing to say that all our guys will be on track in terms of being double vaccinated by the time the borders reopen.
Did you come to a situation where you were going to have a hard conversation with certain players that maybe you were going to have to tear out their contract if they didn't get the vaccination?
No, we didn't think we'd have that.
How did you turn around Paynehaus's decision to get vaxxed?
Oh, well, I'm not going to talk about individual people, Katie. That's for the individual. But collectively as a club, we've gone about educating, communicating with all of our players and all of our staff around the realities, not just of getting back to normal life and normal society, but also be able to continue our game. It's a big industry. There's a lot of jobs as part of our wider industry, and a lot of Queensland, Australia's social fabric revolves around sport. So we've got a real big role to play to get to get our society back on track again.
What about the season ahead, Dave? How important is it to be playing finals footy again after the last 2 years?
It's exciting. Day one of preseason and the fixture coming out. So. Look, I don't think anyone at the club's going to shy away that our goal will be we want to get back to playing finals footy. I think you'll hear that from everyone, but that's an outcome. I think the reality for all of us, staff and players, is that every day is an opportunity to get better. You saw it out there today. We've got a coach who's very well planned with our new head of performance, who's been appointed full time across the course of the off season. A new head of football, relatively new head of football. So the program is quite a bit of stability there and continuity. So I think everyone's looking for that opportunity and to take advantage of what is there in front of us, which is to keep progressing and capitalising on the gains that we gained at the back end of last season, which I think everyone saw was a lot of positive growth for us as a club and as a team.
What about the draw, Dave? What are your thoughts on it? It seems quite positive, a lot of home games early and 2 Sunday games as well.
Yeah, terrific. Look, I think without doubt, we look at opening night and we've got South Sydney at Suncorp. What a way to start the season. You've got, I think anyone was around last week, the little halfback, he's not meant to be back at training until mid-December, and he was already in the office on last Thursday, so you can't say he's not keen. So look, that I think that script will write itself. For us, again, the team's got 4 months to get better each and every day. But as a club, we'll be highlighting that game and the Cowboys game in round 3 on a Sunday, which I don't think we've had for 15 or 16 years. As potential sellouts to start the season, and for us as a club and our member base and the team, there'd be no better way to start the rugby league season in Queensland with two really strong games, and from our end we want both of those to be sellouts.
Does the emergence of the Dolphins make it more important for the Broncos to be successful next year? Because if you had 3 failed seasons in a row with a new crosstown rival, that could be fatal for the brand.
I think that'd be I don't think it'll be fatal for the brand.
Is it more important to be successful with a new team coming in, a new rival you've never had before?
Well, I think just back on the brand, I think it's a little bit disrespectful to the players and the staff and the history of the club, the legacy of the club. There's been a lot of blood, sweat and tears that have poured into this place over 30 odd years, and for us as a group here now that are custodians of the club that have an opportunity to really for us to get us back to where we want to be. There's a hell of a lot of work that's gone into it, and we'll keep going into it. But look, Redcliffe are coming into the competition, but that's in 2023. It's a long time from now to then, and it's a longer time in rugby league. So there's a lot of water to go under the bridge still in that period of time. But look, I think for us as a club, if we're motivated by external factors, you have to question yourself around why you're here. We can only control what we control, and a big part of that is doing the work across the course of the preseason, getting the team, which Kevy and the senior leaders will drive, and the coaching and performance staff over that period of time. And then for us as a business, this is about starting the season really well, which, as I said before, I think there's a great opportunity there for 2 really strong sellout crowds, which we'll be pushing really hard for to start the season.
What about Dave Kevy's contract? It's a different contract to what traditionally we see with coaches in rugby league. Why have you taken that stance, and how does Kevy feel about it?
Well, I think for us, we've been having discussions for quite some time. Kev and I think everyone knows our relationship. We go back some time. We're very close, and we can have very direct conversations around it. Look, I don't think it's for everyone, but for Kev, he knows he's got my full backing, and I think everyone's seen that the investment we've made around Kev and the team and the football program, the considerable growth in terms of his expertise in the role over the back end of the season particularly, and then the results flowing from that. So look, I think those conversations should happen behind closed doors, but and I understand it's a little bit different in rugby league terms, but certainly in business, when you're talking just the theory side of it, it's not an unusual thing to do in terms of business. So really looking forward to having been briefed last week, particularly on what the preseason looks like, and what the planning and preparations look like. I'm really excited to see what this group can do under Kev.
And you need a new captain as well now Lexi's gone. When are you deciding to make that decision?
Well, it's probably one for Kev. I think he's up back into this week. But look, from a personal point of view, there's quite some candidates now. You've obviously Adam Reynolds, Kurt Capewell joined the group. Ryan James is a former captain of his team, and then you've got some emerging leaders. So they've got internally a bit of a process to go through. But obviously before the start of the season, that'll get done, and we'll be in a position where we can not just announce a captain, but I'm sure a full leadership team.
Dave, you've seen premiership success at Melbourne. How long do you think it can be before you can look at the Broncos and say they're a legitimate premiership force?
Hopefully sooner than everyone thinks. Look, I think for us as a group and a club, I don't want to put a time frame or any sort of limit on this group. I think there's an incredibly talented group of young athletes that are coming through, and we're putting in some real experience around them. We're focusing on internal systems and processes, which are the boring things that make up a football program, but they're incredibly important. So that's a lot of the work that has been going in and is still going in. We're not there yet. We're not the finished product. But I've got real confidence in the group that's there, whether it's the coaches or performance staff, the recruiters. I fully support the systems approach that Ben Ikin takes, and we've got a world-class academy across the road, which really is a production line of talent. So I think all those things add up to when you look around us and you ever look at the world-class facilities. There's some real incredible key ingredients there that can help us get to where we want to be sooner than later.
What about DD just on Wayne Bennett and the Dolphins? He signed Kurt Richards, he signed Ben Teo from here. Are you worried that Wayne will be trying to attack the club as Dolphins coach?
Oh, look, I've got enough. I think for the Broncos, our focus will be on us. Redcliffe's they've got an 18-month runway into start of, not even that now, 16-month runway, and that'll go really quick. So, I'm sure they'll do what they need to do, but we'll just focus on us. And for us, it's about creating the best possible environment that not just our athletes, but our staff and football staff and commercial staff want to be a part of. I think, as I said before, we've got a great history at this football club, but we've got an opportunity to build on that legacy. And that's to create something that's incredibly special and something that everyone wants to be a part of, whether they're a player or whether they're a staff member or a member or a fan. There's great opportunities here for elite young talent to come through, both men and women. And that's, from a personal point of view, it's something cool to be leading.
Just on NRLW, Broncos don't get a home game until round 5. Was that disappointing for the only champions of the competition?
I'm not entirely sure of the process that went into building the construct of the game, Katie, or some of the challenges, particularly the logistical challenges. But what I will say is any disappointment certainly gets offset by the fact that our 3-time champs will actually get to play at Suncorp. They've not had that opportunity before, and it's something that I think all of us internally, I know the players are incredibly excited about it, having spoken to a few of them. All of us as a club, I'm sure our members and fans will be, it will be filled with pride that day when they get to watch the NRLW champs run on the field, and it's going to be a hell of a day of footy. We get Cowboys in the NRL, hosting the Cowboys in the NRL at 4 o'clock, leading into with a 2 o'clock NRLW game against the Eels. So it's going to be a huge game of footy, and hopefully we'll have a massive crowd there. I'm not sure what they're doing for finals yet. I'd certainly, from a club's point of view and a city's point of view, I'd be talking to the city and the state about putting our hands up to host the grand final. Not sure if they're settled on that yet, but if you've got the opportunity to host finals, I know the team's got a real aspiration to make it 4 in a row, and I'm not going to I can't bet, but I'm not going to bet against them, so to speak.
They don't know if they can play a second grand final because there's still no draw out for the 2022 comp. Do you know has there been any chats about that, when they'll know what they're doing?
I think they're still stepping through. I think the construct of the whole year. It's going to be a big year for the NRLW and a big year for Women's Rugby League. You've got, of course, the NRLW rolling over, or the 21 season rolling into 22, and it rolls into the local state-based competition. State of Origin, which is always massive and is just getting bigger and bigger each year, and into a second NRLW season. So, and then of course finishes off with the World Cup. So it's a monster year of Women's Rugby League, and certainly from the Broncos' point of view, we're going to be front and centre of that. It's going to be a really exciting year to be a part of.